All right, hey everybody, this is Rosh, and you are watching FM9 Basics. This is a YouTube series that I'm putting together to help new and experienced users program all their Fractal products, including the FM9, the FM3, and the XFX3. So a little about myself. Once again, my name is Rosh, and I am a guitar player and guitar tech out here in the Los Angeles area. I build and program a lot of guitar rigs for a lot of different clients, including Steve Vai, Leppard, Melissa Etheridge, A Perfect Circle, Dweezil Zappa, Bush, and more. So I wanted to give back to the Fractal community and show some tips and tricks on how to build and program all your Fractal products, including the FM3, the XFX3, and in this case, the FM9. If you want to see more tutorial videos, feel free to view them on the rest of this YouTube channel, or you can go to fm9basics.com, fm3basics.com, and xfxbasics.com. So one of the most common requests that I see either on Facebook or on the forums or from other clients is I need to, they get an FM9 and they go, hey, I need to build a preset from scratch and I need a bunch of different sounds on it. I'm in a cover band or I'm about to jump on tour, etc. And so one of the most common things, of course, is, hey, if I have all these factory presets, how do I copy one scene from one preset into another? So for example, if you wanted to take scene 4 from this preset and then copy it into this preset and replace the scene. Unfortunately, with all the Fractal products, you can't copy one scene from one preset and paste it into another. So for example, if you wanted to copy scene 2 from here, scene 5 from here, scene 8 from here, and scene 3 from here, and you wanted to copy it all into one preset, unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to do that. But I do go over some tutorials on how to take different sounds from one preset and put them into another, either copying and pasting blocks or using the library feature, etc. Now, one of the other great features that you can do, of course, is use this sets and songs feature. And this allows you to kind of do that. And I'm going to walk through how to do it. And this is also a really great feature for people who maybe, you're in a cover band and you have 30 songs and you want to put together a bunch of different sounds for all the presets that you're going to do. Maybe you're in a touring band and you want to put together your set list for your band, and you want to, each section of every song, you have a verse, a bridge, a chorus, pre-chorus, and you want to put them all together in a different set list. So in FM9 Edit, of course, if we hit sets and songs, we can go to this feature. Now, the first part of this tutorial, I'm going to go over how to build an all-in-one kind of preset. Now, each song here allows you to have 8 different sections. And in this case, maybe you want to just have like a couple basic presets using a bunch of different scenes and sounds from a bunch of other presets. So let's build an all-in-one preset. And I'm using preset in air quotes. We're going to call this song an all-in-one song. So for example, what this allows you to do is you can rename each section, and you can rename them by either sections of songs like verse, pre-chorus, bridge, intro, or in this case, we're going to rename each section by a type of sound that we need. So if you watch some of my other tutorials, I generally tend to have, maybe 4 sounds that I need. Some users might need more, other users might need less, but let's start with the 4 basic sounds that we would need. So I have a clean, a crunch, a rhythm, and to me, rhythm is usually like a rock rhythm, and then of course, a lead sound. So what this allows you to do in this feature is that you can select a preset with this P number, and you can select a scene from the preset with the S number. So for example, if I wanted a clean sound, let's say I'm going through my factory presets, and to me, when I think of a clean sound, I usually think of one of the Fenders. So let's start with a deluxe reverb. And let's say this was the sound that I wanted for my clean sound. So right now I'm playing a Les Paul, that's my neck pickup. Okay, so let's just hypothetically say that this was the sound that I wanted for my clean sound. So for what you can do is, for this clean sound, you can pick a preset and we can select a deluxe reverb. And right here, if you leave this by the default scene, what happens is that when you select this sound, it's going to load the default scene that this preset generally defaults to. So in this case, the default scene for the deluxe verb preset is scene 1, but other presets may default into another scene. So for example, let's say this Atomica preset, it loads with scene 3 by default, or you might have another preset. That one loads in scene 1, but let's just pick something random, like, I don't know, Brit Pre. That also seems to load in scene 1. But I think you guys get the idea that if a certain scene or a certain preset loads in a different scene by default, like this Archeon loads in scene 2, for example, by default, then selecting the default scene right here is going to load this preset with whatever the default scene is. Now, this is going to be useful if you build your own custom preset and you're using that custom preset to grab sounds from and put together a bunch of different songs with that custom preset. In this case, I like to set which scene I'm going to pick rather than just defaulting to the default. So I'm going to pick the normal scene right there. And so if we press this 1 right here, it's going to select that preset and it's going to select that scene, and now we have a clean sound. And of course, you can select different scenes. So maybe we want the vibrato channel instead. And you'll notice that if I select the scene and hit this 1 again, you'll notice that the unit actually also defaults to whatever scene was selected in here. So now that's not clean enough for me for a clean sound that I would want. So we're going to go back to the normal and I'm going to hit this 1 again. And you'll notice that the unit switches to scene 1 there. So this is also a great way to maybe as you're grabbing different sounds from different presets, you're going to want to try a bunch of different scenes in each preset, and you can kind of audition between like a clean and a crunch sound. So the next scene or the next sound that we want is maybe a crunch sound. And to me, I generally will pick some type of Vox or some type of overdriven Fender type sound. So in this case, let's just pick the top boost, and let's say one of these scenes is going to be our crunch sound. So for example, maybe the hot might be a way to go. A little too crunchy for me. Maybe let's try the normal. That's great. Maybe let's try the top boost dry because we don't want any, maybe top boost dry. Or, bright maybe. Yeah, that works. So let's just hypothetically say that maybe I don't want the delay on. And of course, I'm going to bypass that and I'm going to save this scene as it is. So just keep in mind that if you are making any changes to this factory preset, it will be saved in this factory preset. So there's a couple different things that you can do. Of course, you can copy this preset to an empty slot and then use that instead. So for example, if I wanted to save this preset, but call it top boost edited or something, we can do that. So we can save to a new preset number and then maybe, use one of these empty slots. So maybe I'll save it here and we'll go here. And of course, we can call this top boost edited. So what we can do now is go to our crunch sound and then we can select our top boost edited, which was in 390. And of course, we want to select the bright scene. And then you'll notice that if I hit 2, it's going to go to that bright scene right there on the unit. And of course, we can audition against our clean sound. So if I hit that 1, you'll notice that it goes right back to preset number 3 and it goes to the normal scene. Okay, so now let's grab a rhythm sound. So let's take our P number right there. And then to me, I'm a big fan of the Marshalls for rock rhythm stuff. So let's just pick this Brit 800. And again, what we can do is we can try these scenes right here in the manage set lists and songs, or you can of course just go here and then audition whatever your sounds are going to be. So for example, you can do it in here. Yeah, that sounds great. So let's use that one. I want the Brit 800. And of course, if we pick the default scene, so for example, if I hit the 3, default scene right there on the unit, you can see that it is always scene 1. But I like to also just select the scene, even if scene 1 is the default scene. So last but not least, let's grab a lead sound from one of the factory presets. So you can, of course, try a bunch of different ones. Let's maybe, to me, if I want like a lead sound, I'm thinking like a rock lead sound. We can use maybe studio leads or something like that. Let's see how this one sounds. Apologies for my sloppy playing, but yeah, this is probably going to work. So again, what we can do is the lead right here is that it's going to be the studio leads, and that is going to be number 77 right there. And of course, we can pick whatever scene. So I'll pick the 2011, and of course, if I go to number 4 right there, and then now we got a rhythm sound, which is the Brit 800, and you can see that the unit keeps changing as soon as I hit this number of whatever section I want. So the rhythm sound. And then let's go to the crunch sound. And then our clean sound. That's great. So now that we've put together our all-in-one song, aka preset, aka song, whatever you would like to call it, you're gonna of course want to be able to navigate through each of these sections. So by default, in the layout menu, we do have this sets and songs feature. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to select a section of the song up to 6, and of course, go up and down in a set list. So right now, if you're looking on the unit and you're also looking on the in FM9 Edit, you'll notice that everything's empty, nothing's populated yet, because if you go in the sets and songs feature, it's grabbing stuff from our set list, but our set list is currently empty. So if we wanted to put our set list together, even having a set list of 1, you can drag right into there, and now you get this all-in-one preset. And then if you go into here, you'll see that it has all-in-one. And again, we only have 1 song in this current set list, and the clean, the crunch, the rhythm, and the lead are now populated for different use. So for example, I have my clean sound right here. I can switch to my crunch sound. I can switch to my rhythm sound. I can have my lead sound. So really useful feature. And of course, if you wanted to add 5 and 6 for some other sounds, you can do that. And again, you would go through the same type of process. So let's just grab 2 more sounds just for the fun of it. Let's call this maybe affected or something. Maybe you need something with like a bunch of reverb and delay. And then maybe you need, I don't know, tremolo or something. Tremolo. So of course we can grab a preset and a scene that has a lot of effects on it. Maybe this reverb crystals or something. Let's try maybe something not too crazy. So let's use maybe, let's do the deluxe verb. And again, we can audition our sounds here in the deluxe verb. Maybe there's something on here that we like. Actually, maybe, and again, I'm just kind of picking stuff at random. Nope. Let's try, let's try the Atomica maybe. There might be something in there. Yeah, maybe there's channel 1 effects. Okay, cool. We got this kind of pitch block and this delay. Let's see if this is maybe some type of affected sound that we like. Yeah, that's fine. It's got kind of a slap back thing. So what we can do, of course, is we're going to pick the Atomica. And what you can do is if you lose track of where you are, you can always type in this in the search bar and it'll select the preset for you. And of course, we want to select the channel 1 effects. So now we have this kind of slapback thing for number 5. And you can see down at the unit, it also has that affected. And then of course we want something with tremolo. So let's say we go back to the deluxe verb, and this time it does have the vibrato, which is the tremolo. And again, this is kind of copied from the quote unquote Fender thing where they kind of misnamed the vibrato on the amp as a tremolo and the tremolo on the amp as a vibrato. So what we're going to do is we want scene 3, which is this sound. We want to put that in section number 8 right here. So I'm going to pick here, go to the deluxe reverb, and then we're going to grab the trem on sound. Now we have 6 sounds that we can use. Of course, we have the clean sound, we have the crunch sound, the rhythm sound, the lead sound. Oops, sorry. And this affected sound. And this tremolo sound. So this songs and set list feature is really useful for users who don't want to, spend a lot of time copying and pasting, cobbling a bunch of presets together. And again, really useful, and we just built in all-in-one preset. Now, let's say that you might be in a cover band and you want to have a bunch of different presets, but they might have different sounds that you're looking for. So for example, we have this all-in-one sound, and then maybe we have the next song we need is using a bunch of other sounds. So you would want to go through the same process again, and you're just picking, maybe the next song only has 3 sections, etc. So for example, what we can do is we can delete this, and what we're going to do now is put together a new song, new preset. And again, maybe it only has like 3 sounds that you need, and they're all different levels of gain or something like that. So for example, let's just say that you have like another preset or another song or something. And what you can do, of course, is go through the same process of picking different presets and scenes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through this quickly so you can see how you would navigate a bunch of different presets. So for example, I'll just pick the 59 bass guy as our clean. Let's say we want like a high gain sound. So we'll use like a high gain thing like the Friedman, and we'll do the BE right there. And then we want a lead, and again, I'll pick a different type of lead. Let's do the glass leads. And we'll just do the original right there. So now we have these 3 sounds. So here's our clean sound. We have our high gain sound. And then we have our lead sound. Now, as you notice in this layout, everything's blank again because you, of course, need to drag the songs in here, and you want to put them in the order that you want. So when you're looking at the top 2 right here, what you're going to notice is that it's going to increase and decrease, and then of course wrap around in this set list. So of course it can look a little confusing right now because we only have 2 songs, so it's wrapping around between 2 songs. Let's copy this song, paste it, and then what we're going to do is we're going to call this 3rd song, and then put that here. So of course, if we go in the sets and songs feature, if we go in the FC edit, you can see that each button allows you to increment through your set list. Now, this can be a little confusing right here because it says destination name, and it's telling you that, hey, if you hit this button, it's going to go to the another song preset, whatever you want to call it. And then if you go here, it's going to go down through the 3rd song. So this is going down the set list versus going up the set list. Can get a little confusing. You can, of course, set it to action. so that you can know that you're just going up and down different songs, for example. So song minus, song plus. And now the problem with this, of course, is you lose the name of the song that you're going to do. So you can do a bunch of different ones. The destination name might be okay, because what it means is that, hey, if you want to go to the third song, you hit this button, and I'm going to reach in there with my foot. Now I'm on third song, and then again, this is the third song preset with these 3 sounds in there, and you can see that the unit matches them. So our third song has 3 sounds in there. And of course, if I go back to the all-in-one preset, now I have the 6 sounds that we put together. And again, what we're thinking is that the left green foot switch is going down the set list, right? So, or I'm sorry, going in reverse order. So it's going to the third song, then it's going to another song. So it's basically going from here, going up. And of course, if I'm using the right foot switch, it's going down. So I'm going to the third song, and then it's going to, so we're currently here. And if I hit it again, it's going to wrap around and go here. And again, it depends on how many songs you put in the set list. So one thing that you can do, of course, is keep track of how, you can reorder these in whatever way you want. So you can rename them if you'd like, and that might be a little easier to navigate. So song 1, song 2, and then song 3. And again, this is more of a navigation thing. So you can see that if I hit this button, the foot switch is saying song 2. So of course I'm going to hit song 2. And then now it's cobbled together all the presets for song 2. And that's where we're at. So I will select this just to help us keep track of where we are. And then of course, if I hit that button again, it's going to go to song 3. So I'm going to hit this and pretend like this is going to be song 3. So again, this is a pretty useful feature, especially if you're going to organize a bunch of different songs from a bunch of different set lists, or I'm sorry, from a bunch of different presets. Now let's talk about maybe some of the disadvantages. So obviously there is an audio gap because of course we're switching presets and we're switching scenes. So if I hold a chord and then switch from the clean to the high gain sound, and this gap is actually much longer than if they were all in the same preset, because you're not only switching scenes, you're also switching presets, which takes the longest. So another way to approach this using this sets and songs feature, of course, is to build one master preset that you're going to grab different sounds from. So for example, if we go to an empty preset and build out a preset and then grab all those sounds from the same preset, you'll notice that it's much faster. So I definitely recommend doing something like this if the switching is going to be an issue for you. In full disclosure, I don't mind the channel switching audio gap. Doesn't bother me that much, or at all really, but just for the interest of being thorough, I'm going to build a master preset that we're going to grab a bunch of different sounds from. So let's build a clean sound, a crunch sound, a rhythm sound, and a lead sound. So if you have these all in one preset, you can just grab the scenes from this, and then you can put together a set list from these 4 sounds or 8 scenes that you would want. So for example, let's do a quick build. I'm going to put an input and an output block, an amp, a cab, and then a reverb. And I'm going to run everything in parallel for the time-based effects. And in the interest of time, I'm going to just go to the scene manager, and I'm going to pick the amp, and I want each channel to be separate as well as each cab. So of course, like if I'm on scene 1, then it's using amp A and cab A. Scene 2 is going to use amp B and cab B. Scene 3 is going to use amp C and cab C, and then the lead's going to use amp D and cab D. All right, now what we're going to do, of course, is running in parallel. We want the reverb to be 100% mix. -6 on the dB, and the bypass mode is mute in. I'm going to just go with some of my go-to amps and go-to cabs. So in this case, I'm going to use a deluxe reverb, the normal channel, turn the gain down, and I'm going to pick the deluxe verb here. And let's do some standard high and low cuts. And let's build this clean sound. That can probably come up. Great. Cool. And we're going to save that. Now I'm going to go to scene 2, and again it switches to channel 2 and cab 2. And again, I'm just going to pick some type of Voxy amp. Let's do the Class A TB, and of course, let's pick the right cab, Class A. And again, I'm just dialing this in really quickly. This isn't going to be the tone building part of this tutorial, but this is just going to be so that we're going to build a master preset and then grab our sounds from it for the setlist feature. So we got our crunch sound, and again, I'm using the C. Let's use maybe the JCM 800, aka the Brit 800, and again, I'm just using some of my go-to cabinet choices as well as amp choices. That is not the cabinet I wanted. I want the greenback, and where is it? The pre-roller greenback. Again, standard low and high cuts for me. Let's see how this sounds. More gain. And this cab is a little spiky. Here we go. All right, now we got our rhythm sound. Yeah, probably around there. Great. And then of course, let's dial in a lead sound. And let's use maybe we'll use the Archeon, and let's see how that sounds. And let's use maybe the Rumble, and we'll do something like that. There's a lot of low end in this. And let's pick a different mic. Probably needs both. So let's do this. Let's do this with the Rumble. And and the 57. Great. And we want this to be a little bit louder than the rest. turn the treble down, the mids up. And we'll just stick with that for now. So we got our clean sound, crunch sound, our rock rhythm sound. Let's turn the bass down a little bit. And then our lead sound. Now, again, in the interest of time, we're not going to add any effects to this, but let's assume that you did. Now in the sets and songs feature, of course, you can, let's say you had your master master preset built, and you just want to, put together a set list using sounds from that master preset. So what I'm doing is I'm going to clear out all these songs really quick. Okay, so now, and then we're going to clear out this set list, and you'll notice that the layout is starting to depopulate. So let's just say that you had, a song 1, and you need to use the clean sound, or let's say let's go even further. Let's say you have a song that has a verse, a pre-chorus, a chorus, a bridge, and a solo. So let's say for the verse that you wanted a clean sound. So what you could do is go to your master preset that you just built, and then you want to grab the clean sound. Now this pre-chorus, let's say you needed a crunch sound from there. So we're going to go our master preset again, and we use the crunch. When it gets to the chorus, you want to use that rock rhythm sound. And then of course you want to select the rhythm. And then for the bridge, maybe let's say it's kind of like a more quiet bridge. So we're going to go back to that crunch sound from our master preset. And master preset. And we're going to go to the crunch sound right here. So you'll notice that it's going from clean to crunch to rhythm to crunch again. And then we have a solo at the outro. So we want to pick that master preset, and then we have use our lead sound. And then let's say there's no section 6. So we're going to grab song 1 and put that in there. And you'll notice that once we have that in there, okay, you can of course audition each of the sounds, and you'll notice that the unit is switching. So again, in the verse, we're using the clean sound. When we go to the pre-chorus, we're using the crunch sound. When we go to the rhythm, it's using the rhythm scene. And when we go to the bridge, it's going to go back to that crunch sound. And then of course, when we go to the solo, it goes to the lead sound. Now that we've dragged it to this song, and we look at the layout, we want to make sure that we're selecting the song. So either one of these. And then now you're going to see that the unit says master preset, but we have our sections of the song. So the verse, again, is using the clean scene, and you can see that in the unit. Of course, we can see here on FM9 edit that it's using the clean sound. And as I go through each section with my foot, it's going to go through all the different sounds, and then the solo is going to be the lead sound. So again, because we're switching channels, there's going to be a slight audio gap, and again, that's more from the channel switching. But you'll notice that that is definitely much, much quicker than when jumping between presets and scenes. And there's no gap between the pre-chorus and the bridge because they're using the same scene. So obviously. But in my opinion, that's a pretty negligible, I don't even notice it really. You can definitely get through a gig like that. And of course, we have the solo. And again, you can label any of these sections anything you want. So now let's say that we're going to come up with a second song. So let's say this is the song 2, and you only need to use maybe 2 sounds for it. Maybe you only need to use, again, from your master preset, you only need to use maybe the crunch, and we'll call this like main riff, and then solo or something. Maybe it's a song that only has one riff, and then you just have a you stay on the same sound, and then you have a solo at the end. So again, we're picking that preset, going to the master preset, and then we're doing the lead. So again, in this song, we're going to drag it to the set list, and then now we have 2 songs in the set list. So again, we're going to select song 2, and you have the main riff and the solo, and then the rest of the sections are empty, but so you're playing your main riff, and then you go to the solo. And so this allows you to build a set list using one master preset. So now song 3 could be, really rockin' intro. So we want to use the, again, rhythm sound. Maybe as a super quiet verse, and you want to use the clean sound. And again, I'm just always selecting from the master preset, and we're organizing all the same sounds in between. And then maybe it's just got the quiet verse, and then it's got an outro, which we're going to use the crunch sound for. And again, let's pick the crunch, and we want to drag this song 3. And then now we have 3 songs that we are going to be using for all this. So a lot of different ways to use this, but now we're doing it all from a master preset. And again, if we go to song 3, now I have the intro, the quiet verse, and the outro. So we got this super loud intro. Go to the quiet verse. Then we got the intro, or the outro, which has the crunch sound. And of course, this is if you're doing original songs, you can of course do this with like cover songs, let's say, if you're in a cover band or whatever, and you can organize the sections of the songs. So obviously, you can do all these different songs here, up to 128, and then you can reorder them in every set. You have 4 sets that you can do, and you can pick which one. So if you're doing like 4 sets in a night and you want to have a preset for every single song in the set, you can totally do that. And then you can of course have all the sections. So there's lots of different ways to do this. This is just going to be a crash course, just kind of an introduction into this songs and set list feature. You can of course grab different sounds from a bunch of different master presets that you build. So maybe you have a master preset for the wedding band that you're in, but then you have a different master preset for your original band. There's so many different variations and so many different ways you can utilize this feature, all just using that. Now, you can of course use the default layout right here, which is layout number 8. On the FM9, you can of course use the song selection layout, and you can change this layout if you're only going to use 4 sections at a time. But I find that it's pretty intuitive to stick with layout number 8. And then you'll see that if you don't have any sections, they're going to be blank and not lit up by default. And again, you can delete those if you're only going to be using 3 sections at a time. But this is a great way to organize a bunch of different sounds, either from the factory preset or, of course, building your own master presets with a bunch of different sounds. You can, of course, not just use 8 scenes. You can add 4 more, or I'm sorry, you don't need to use just 4 scenes. You can have 8 different scenes. So maybe you have variations of these different sounds, but with like different effects on. Maybe you are in a cover band and there's one song on the set list that uses like one very specific sound, but you never need it for anywhere else. And of course, you can have like your main master song, your all-in-one preset, and then maybe 2 or 3 separate songs that use only those presets, and they come to mind. So a lot of different scenarios you can do. There's too many to cover in just one video, but this is definitely a good starting point for all you users out there who are interested in the sets and songs feature. So I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Hopefully this was very informative for you. If you need any help, one-on-one consultations or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Other than that, if there's any other topics you'd like me to cover, please leave a comment below, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks.
I'm standing with you, got it all in my hands, but I don't know how to breathe. I'm walking outside, taking